18.
Fournette, the running back. 8 seconds, 7 seconds. Brady to throw. Throws a deep pass downfield. And Scotty Miller in the open. Makes the catch. Touchdown, Tampa Bay.
Rodgers fires quickly. End zone is caught for the touchdown by Allen Lazard. First and goal for the 5. Brady. Evans. Did he catch it? Yes, sir. Touchdown. Rodgers spins to his left. Comes underneath, and the pass is incomplete, out of bounds. Now they say complete. 3rd and 1. Rodgers play action. Look to the end zone. Rainbow Jordy Nelson. He's got it. Touchdown.
Mahomes looking under pressure. Throws the ball upfield. It is knocked away at the 50-yard line. Intercepted. Picked off a deflection.
Anyway.
Enough about our bullshit with our past lives as
Enough about
terrible
us being
football
losers.
players. What is up, guys? I am back, and welcome to episode 23 of the Battle for the Bay podcast. With me, as always, Draz.
Howdy.
Now, you can take a guess by what the background is this week. We are not doing so well after what happened during the weekend.
I'm actually doing all right because I saw this coming. I saw it coming.
At least we saw that the Packers were going to lose, but the Bucks on Chiefs Devil Magic-esque bullshit.
I mean, I did tell you that if you guys didn't blow them out, if you kept it close, you had no chance of winning.
I know, and it happened. To my great chagrin, it happened. But anyways, we're not here to soapbox yet. First, we gotta get through our Pick-Ems, which is per usual. We're going to talk about what our teams think, what we think they should do. What they will do is a different matter entirely that we'll get into after the season's over. And then after that, we got some news we want to cover. So, yeah, pretty basic
Mostly
stuff
has
here.
to do with people getting hired, people getting canned.
Well, most people getting the can has been way long done. Mostly.
Yeah, mostly.
Ouch. But to start things off, we got the divisional round of the playoffs. Would you like to tell us what the first game is, Draz?
Well, we got Texans, Chiefs, baby.
Can I just not do this one?
I mean, you could just take a loss. I'm basically doing that. I'm gonna choose the Texans out of pure. This is gonna be my first spite pick of the year. You could just spite pick with me, and if you spite pick, the Texans would have a higher chance to win.
No,
because for whatever reason you spite pick.
I hate both these teams. I hate the Chiefs. They get devil magic to oblivion. Well, they're gonna not oblivion. They're gonna get devil magic all the way to the Super Bowl somehow, some way. They're already going to backdoor into the AFC Championship game because they're playing the Texans, which has been one of the worst teams this year. And the fact they won a playoff game is astounding. I got to go with the Chiefs for the fact that bullshit's going to happen.
Well, if you're going to go with the Chiefs, I'm going to go with the Chiefs because I ain't fucking letting you gain a game on me for free.
And like it matters. Our shit ended last week with the regular season.
Our shit did. Joy's didn't. but yeah, I fucking fuck the Chargers.
Actually,
man.
The best thing.
Fuck the Chargers.
If the Texans win, it better be. If the Texans win, it better be like this. C.J. Stroud's knocked out with a concussion in the first quarter. What's his name? Fucking. The guy who looked like Mike Glennon that they drafted the year before. Davis Mills.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah.
C.J. Stroud gets hurt early in the first quarter. Davis Mills comes in and balls out. Joe Mixon carries them to another victory. I'll be fine with that happening, as long as it doesn't involve C.J. Stroud being the direct cause.
Patrick Mahomes and C.J. Stroud get in a fist fight, and both get ejected from the game.
Both die.
Travis Kelsey gets kicked in the balls by Taylor Swift and has to be carted off the field. Taylor Swift comes in as quarterback of the Chiefs and goes up by 40 points, but Joe Mixon puts the Texans on his back, scores 40 points in the fourth quarter, and wins 41-40 because they go for a 2-point conversion.
Sounds about right.
Then the Texans fans storm the field, and Taylor Swift writes a song about it.
Dumps Kelsey right after, and then "Love Is Like a Football Field" is released.
Love is like a football field's released, and then she decides to go marry someone who's a fan of water polo instead. Well, that was we've already given this too much energy. Chiefs Texans. This is gonna be the worst game of the week.
Agreed. For me, at least.
All right.
Like, this is the first game of the week where this is the one game this week that's like I lose no matter what. Like, no matter who I choose,
Everybody
I
wins
still
when
lose.
the Chiefs lose. Everybody wins when the Chiefs lose.
All right.
The Texans are like the Soviet Union. The Chiefs are like the Germany in World War II.
Oh God.
Neither are good. Neither are good, but there is a correct choice.
But we're both taking the Chiefs though, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Commanders Lions.
Okay. Despite what happened last week, I'm not mad at the Commanders, but I'm not happy either. We still prove that Marshawn Lattimore is a piece of bird toast. Yes, he got the stat sheet win against Mike Evans, but he did literally nothing. He got a participation trophy, and that's it.
The first thing I saw on social media was a Saints fan saying another Marshawn Lattimore victory over Mike Evans.
Tom Grossi put that down during his reactions. That's like the one thing they can hold on to.
Yeah.
But if they actually watched the game, he literally did nothing. He got burnt on 2 plays, caused PI, and got a touchdown scored on him by Mike Evans.
He really should be the second or third option on a team, but to be fair, I think he is the best corner on the Commanders right now.
No, Sance really is, and not because he's from Michigan, but because he's actually the better corner. Speaking of Michigan, I can't do
Detroit's winning this.
I can't do it to Detroit. If they lose to the Commanders, it'll just be a disappointing way to end the season. Welcome to the Bucks. Welcome to the Bucks reality.
Especially since I'm going to be choosing an upset for the next game. I have to choose the Lions for this one. Plus, I think they're just the better team than Commanders right now. Commanders, you have already outlived your expectations drastically. You should be happy with where you are. You got your first playoff win in since 2005, I think. So,
yeah,
20 years.
2005, that was the last time they won, and it was whenever they played the Bucks. So history repeated itself, and I hate it.
All right, so we both go Chiefs, both go Lions. We're metagaming right now.
Mm-hmm.
What about Rams Eagles? I'm choosing the Rams.
The Eagles better fucking win this.
I'm choosing the Rams.
Why? Against Saquon Barkley? I don't think so.
Sean McVay is going to pull the rabbit foot that he has shoved so far up his ass. He's going to pull it out, and he's going to start fucking going to town on that thing. I don't know. The Rams, I'm on Team Rams after they blew out the Vikings. That was the highlight to my week. Because immediately as well, the way they did it, did you see the touchdown they took off the board from the Vikings? The fumble that turned into an incomplete pass?
I didn't watch 1 minute of that game. All I know is that Sam Darnold turned into Jet Sam Darnold.
Yes, he was definitely Jet Sam Darnold, but there was a fumble taken off the board. It was a bullshit. It was a bad call, like a really bad call. But I saw all over social media other NFC North fans when Packers were talking about like the blatant PI misses in the Eagles, or the bad the bad fucking no calls against the Eagles.
I did see the one fumble. I did see the one fumble recovery that was called as a Chiefs recovery for whatever reason, or a Eagles recovery for whatever reason.
Yeah, that one was one of them, and everybody was like, "Look, of course the Packers are making excuses and crying refs and stuff like that." And I was like, you know how ironic it is, just one day later, to see Vikings fans posting that the game was stolen by the refs. The Packers weren't even saying that the game was stolen. We're just like the Packers got fucked by the refs. Two things can be true. The Packers did not play good enough to win, and the refs sucked. It's two things can be true at the same time. So take your loss, Vikings, and stop bitching about the Packers complaining when you guys fucking did the exact same thing. We scored one more point than you. We would have won 10-9. Get fucked.
Also, I'm kind of happy that Skull Fraud's reared its ugly head again.
Skull frauds. Yeah.
Like
That's the first thing I thought of was skull frauds.
I was like, in the back of my mind, I was like, oh, I really like the Vikings, but like I couldn't shake that feeling like they were just gonna blow it. I couldn't shake the feeling it popped up.
Every Vikings fan after last week with the Lions game, we're definitely nervous about this Rams game.
All right. And our last game of the week, we got the Ravens going to the Bills. The last time these two played, Lamar Jackson threw a 106-yard pick six and got concussed to oblivion.
Yes, but the Ravens have one thing the Bills will never have.
A quarterback.
Purple jerseys and Derrick Henry. And Derrick Henry in a purple jersey in the playoffs.
Okay, I'm sorry, but I'm taking the Bills here. I like them more than I do the Ravens. That's just the simple fact of the matter. Now,
I like them more than the Ravens. Derrick Henry had 186 rushing yards last week. If they do what they did last week,
the Bills have no recognizable names on either offense or defense, yet they still were second place in the AFC North, AFC East. I cannot speak today. If it wasn't for Chiefs bullshit, they would be the number one seed. That's a simple fact.
Yes, but both of these teams, I think, can beat the Chiefs and are better than the Chiefs.
Well, the Bills have already beaten them.
The Ravens lost to the Chiefs.
The Ravens lost by a toe. Actually,
yes.
We'll go to an alternate universe. We'll go to a quick alternate universe here in a second, but keep going.
Yeah, so they lost in week 1. And if you look at the history of the goddamn Bills, they have fucking beaten the Chiefs 2 times in 2 years in the regular season, and then gone against the Chiefs and lost in the playoffs. Both of those have turned into Chiefs Super Bowl victories. I refuse in multiple different ways to trust the Bills to get it done against the Chiefs in the playoffs. Let's give the Ravens a chance with Derrick Henry. Derrick Henry
had a chance last year.
The staple of consistency. The Ravens had no.
These two have already played the Chiefs. One of them's already won. I have more faith in the other to win. I don't care what past history says. If there's any justice in the world, the Bills finally get over the hump. Also, if there was any justice in the world, we would have won last week, but
I'm choosing the Ravens.
And I'm taking the Bills, meaning we are split.
The only way I will fucking forgive the Bills is if they go against the fucking Chiefs and beat them in the playoffs to win a game. They don't have to win the Super Bowl, but they have to fucking beat the Chiefs because they have done so much to help the Chiefs this year. Unreal. In this entire calendar year, they traded and gave them Worthy. Then last year, it's still technically in the calendar year. They lost to the Chiefs in the AFC Championship. Uh, and then if we go back even further, they lost to the Chiefs the previous year.
And
The
then
Bills have been the biggest
2020
fucking
happened.
helpers of the Chiefs. The Bills have single-handedly been the fuel to the Chiefs' fire. And the only way they
2017 is
can,
when it all started.
yep.
They allowed the
The
Chiefs
only
to
way the
trade
Bills
up
can,
and get the fucking Patrick Mahomes.
yep. And the only way they can make it right is to beat them in the playoffs.
Is it just me, or have the Bills been the source of every frustration that the NFL have seen?
They have, and yet you choose them over the Ravens when Lamar Jackson just had the best season of his career and has Derrick Henry.
Oh,
Find
his
him.
numbers are better. Josh Allen's numbers were better last year, and Lamar Jackson still got the MVP. What's your point?
Cry, seethe,
Cope,
cry
bald.
and seethe. He's gonna win back-to-back MVPs, and Josh Allen deserves nothing because he's on the Bills and he lost twice to the Chiefs in the playoffs. Fuck the Bills.
Okay,
They deserve it.
so
They deserve everything.
before we get into what we want our teams to do, I just want to do some quick alternate universe stuff. Here's the Chiefs if they actually lived in a if we actually lived in a fair and just world. They would have lost to us, lost to the Broncos the first time. They would have. Hold on, what other games did they bullshit wins out of? I'm trying to think.
Pass interference call against the Bengals
Thank
to
you.
get in the field goal range.
That's week 2.
The toe
Actually,
is the Ravens.
I don't think that's more bullshit as it was not the. I don't want to call that bullshit. Like, I'll give him that one. But
Let's see.
going.
They had. See, we already did the block field goal.
The
Pass
botch
interference
snap
against the Falcons.
the botch snap against the Raiders.
Botch snap against the Raiders. No pass interference in the end zone with Kirk Cousins and the Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
Then, see, I can't even remember who they all played this year.
Well, I got playoff predictors up.
All right, let's see.
Did any bullshit happen with the Chargers game, the second to last one?
I'm sure bullshit happened in both of those, but I don't know. Can't remember.
Oh yeah, I think they also
They outlasted the Panthers barely.
Yeah. Okay, but going week to week. Toe. PI was called. PI was called again. Chargers
PI
happened.
wasn't called.
Saints. 49ers. Raiders the first time. They don't get the ball first in overtime. The block field goal doesn't happen. They get beat by the Bills. They outlast Carolina. The Raiders don't magically botch a snap. The Chargers don't do whatever they fucking did. Browns just lose. Texans just lose. Steelers got blown out, and then the Broncos beat their backups. Meaning, in a just world, the Chiefs are 9-8. They're 9-8, and they don't make the playoffs, and the Bills be the number 1 seed, and the Bengals would have got in.
God, what I would give up to see the Chiefs miss the playoffs. You know, this is a fucking sad fact, but the annoyance of the Chiefs is slowly repairing my image of Tom Brady.
Yeah, no. Tom, if it wasn't for Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes would have probably won 2 other Super Bowls.
I still don't like. I don't like when any fucking team dominates. But it's like it's also repairing a lot of people's image on Tom Brady. Also, in the fact that 2 things can be true at the same time. Tom Brady is incredibly clutch. He's a very good game manager, but he's also a very talented not play caller, but he's really good at getting the right play and and getting the ball out quick. He's one of the best quarterbacks at not getting sacked simply because of how quickly he got the ball out. So there's things that he is legitimately the best quarterback of all time in, but one of them is not like talent level or something like that, right? He never was the most talented, which is fine, right? That's fine. You don't have to be the most talented to be the best. Um, but two things can be true at the same time. He could be the statistically the greatest quarterback of all time, or one of the best quarterbacks of all time, talent wise, and he has every single thing going his way with the Patriots. He had the best coach at the time, the best defense, the best, you know what I mean? He's like multiple things can happen at the same time, and everybody is starting to see that with Patrick Mahomes. Like this year, they what was 14-2, 15-2?
Yeah.
And Patrick Mahomes had the same stats as Aaron Rodgers did this year. And I'm not even, like I said, I'm willing to say that Aaron Rodgers had a bad season if we can all say that Patrick Mahomes had a bad season. Like he did not play like the greatest quarterback of all time. And it's like multiple things can be true. Patrick Mahomes is one of the most talented players of all time already, right? But multiple things can be true. He's also at the best franchise right now. The Chiefs have the best coach, the best owner.
Yeah.
And that's sad to say. But, it's just objectively true right now. So if a few years pass and the Lions do what they're supposed to do, I'm going to be able to change that. It's crazy a world we live in.
It is.
5 years ago, maybe actually 10 years, high school me would have never expected me to be a Lions stan, like to actually say I like the Lions.
Meanwhile,
And
10-year-old
be
me
okay
couldn't get a
with them
grasp of
winning
what
multiple
football
Super Bowls.
was. Or not 10-year-old me, 12-year-old me couldn't grasp what football was.
12-year-old me thought aliens were going to kill me and eat me in my bed. Nightmare.
Nightmare. But also in an alternate universe, the Bucks would be 15-2 if the one-score games went our way.
No, they wouldn't. They would be even worse. They'd have 5 extra lost games, and they would be out of the playoffs.
No, I'm just talking about the games we lost that were one-score, not the games we won.
I can't even say that with the Packers.
You can't do that with the Packers.
The only 2 games that I'd say that we lost that we should have won was the Vikings and the Lions game late, and those were like late things that happen. But you also say, oh well, this part of the team didn't play good enough to win, right? The Packers were they never played a complete game of football, and when they did, they won. It's like all of our losses, we had some sort of problem that we couldn't fix. But I know my Packers, they always do this. They always have some game-changing flaw that we never address until the offseason, and then we cause another game-changing flaw, and we never pay attention to it.
Yeah.
AKA special teams, defense, corners. The fact that we brought Kevin King into the NFC Championship game, 2 years in a row? Kevin King was like our number 2 corner and would just get burnt. Dude's like 24 and he's getting outran by 30-year-old wide receivers.
Mike Evans, Scotty Miller.
How do you get burnt by Scotty Miller, bro? Like,
he's the short, fast white guy we had. Tom Brady likes them. All right.
The fact that Kevin King gave up 2 touchdowns in that game, wide open touchdowns too, I will never live.
But since we're talking about our teams, the Bucks bit it against the Commies. They got a doinked field goal in the last second to win, and now they're playing the Lions. We got a 10-7 record, and I think the 16th or 18th pick in the draft. I hope that we get the following. A linebacker For one, Levante David's getting old. And we don't have a good linebacker to go second with him because Devin White decided he didn't want to play football anymore. Second, we need actual corners with talent. Like, Zion McCollum, he gets burnt at literally every other play. Jamel Dean, he's okay on some days. Christian Izien, he slots good at nickel corner, but do not expect him to be a good starter. Bryce Hall got his leg snapped first week of the season.
He never was that good anyway. He hasn't really proven anything in the NFL.
And Jordan Whitehead was just there for filling out the 11 men on the field and got himself to a card wreck before the playoffs, which, by the way, he caused. So no sympathy for him on that front.
All right, so I have like a not a prediction, but what, like, if I was a general manager for like everybody in the NFL, like if I had to choose, I have like an outline of things that I would do if I was the Packers, but teams that should trade for the people that I want to move off of or stuff like that. I don't know how in depth you've thought about your Buccaneers, besides the fact that they should probably cut Mike Evans immediately.
Hey, I was actually trying to think, and then you started going on. But as far as wide receivers concerned, I think we should let Chris Godwin walk. We do not have the cap space to keep him, to re-sign him to a good contract. And Jalen McMillan has proven that he can fill Chris Godwin's role pretty well. In the past 8 weeks, he's scored 6 touchdowns. And he's made some ridiculous catches down the stretch to help us win the NFC South.
Yeah, but Godwin also is like one of the best third down.
Well, I know, but again, we don't have the cap space to keep him. We only have $15 million projected for us right now.
Just cut Levante David, you'll be fine.
No. We're not doing your Madden strategy of cutting every veteran and trading them.
Hey, anyone over the age of 28 is not safe. They are not safe on my roster.
You take the Leonardo DiCaprio stance.
I am literally just dude, I need to change my general manager name to Leonardo DiCaprio every time I start. That's a good one.
But
who's your second? It's not Dean. What's your second corner? Aren't you paying him a lot of money?
Our second corner was Bryce Hall. Remember, and he snapped his ankle.
Oh, you guys traded him away, didn't you?
No, we didn't.
You had a guy that was overpaid. You had a guy that was overpaid.
We traded Carlton Davis to the Lions last year. We got a third-round pick out of it. And Carlton Davis, for better or for worse, was the only piece of that secondary that didn't get hurt on the Lions.
Well, they played good during the Vikings game.
They did.
So I'd say one really good division game that Davis played was worth a third-round draft pick for the Lions.
It was.
They at least got one good game out of him. At least so far, they can say that they got more out of him than Lattimore did.
Our secondary comprises of Jamel Dean and Antoine Winfield. All the other people on that secondary suck ass. Fucking Josh Hayes still being on the team. I get special teams stuff.
But who are you going to trade
Who would you
for?
rather have, Draz? A special teamer who can make tackles? Or a backup corner who can actually play the position? I'd rather have the backup corner that can play a position, not a special teamer.
Well, what player are you guys going to move to? That's the question.
Well, here's what I want. Both of them involve the Raiders. We trade, or if he's a free agent at the end of this year, we sign Spillane, who is their middle linebacker. I'm trying to think of his first name, but I can't.
Is it David Spillane?
Robert Spillane.
Robert.
We sign him.
Bob.
We sign or trade for him. Well, this would be a trade because he's actually he joined in 2023. Let me check the contract he has. It was a 2-year, $7 million contract, so I think, yeah, he's going to be a free agent. So we sign Robert Spillane. That would be the first thing I would like. And the second thing I would also like is to trade for an edge rusher. It can be Max Crosby. It can be Garrett. Not Garrett. What's Cleveland guy? What's his name? Why am I blanking on his
The
name?
only thing I can think of, Greg Newsome.
Every time
Greg Newsome.
Every time I'm pushed on a player, I gotta remember, I just lose all information, and it makes me look stupid.
The only thing I can think of is the people that I've traded for in Madden.
Myles Garrett, fuck's sake! Like,
Myles Garrett actually.
It could be Max Crosby.
You'd have to give up.
It could be Max Crosby. It could be Myles Garrett. I don't care who. We just need to get a proven edge rusher. If we can somehow get Max Crosby, amazing. I'm for that. Myles Garrett is probably going to be way too expensive.
It's going to probably start at 3 firsts for Myles Garrett and Max Crosby.
Well, for Max Crosby,
that's like
Max Crosby
the basement price.
Max Crosby, I think, would be a first-round pick because I have a feeling he's going to want to be out of there.
I think you guys should trade for one player from Green Bay, 1 or 2.
We're not taking Jair Alexander. Stop it.
Well, Jair is like the one person that I think we should move on from.
Well, he has what? One pick in the last 3 years?
Yeah. He's been good at times, but the problem is he can't stay healthy.
The Bucks have had 7 interceptions this entire season.
The thing we
have about 23% of Jair's total from the last 4.
The thing with Jair though is because he hasn't played a lot, because he hasn't gotten a lot of interceptions, he hasn't done anything too crazy. He would be cheap for you guys to get and take a chance on. Like I said, I'm thinking we could get a 3rd and a 4th or something like that for him. And for that price, that's a pretty decent decision to take a chance on somebody like that. Are you guys going to do it? Or is Green Bay going to move on from him? I don't know. Green Bay's conservative as hell, right? Yeah. But I trust us with 3rd and 4th round draft picks. Gutekunst can't draft in the 1st round, but he can draft in the 2nd and the 3rd round. So, second thing is we trade Malik Willis to somebody. Just someone who needs a quarterback. Basically get a return on our investment. And a other player that's possible that the Bucks could trade for, Kenny Clark. Also a day 3 pick at minimum or at maximum. Basically, what we would be doing is trying to offload Kenny Clark's contract. And you guys do have salary cap issues, but
yeah, we got 15 million. That's really going to be
putting Kenny Clark. Kenny Clark has always been the main guy on a team, right? He's always been like the guy who has to get interior pressure. He's never been next to somebody as talented as Vita Vea and Cansey, right?
Mm-hmm.
He's now that we have edge rushers like what's his name? Why can't I think of his name right now? Rashawn Gary, but he didn't have a great year this year, all things considered, comparative. But we got Lucas Van Ness, also a defensive end. You know, like we have edges. He's also done nothing. Yeah, it's like Kenny Clark. We want to move off of him. I think we should move off of him. And so putting him next to somebody like Vita Vea would at least be worth the attempt for a 4th round pick, right? It'd be worth the attempt. But that's if you could get it. That's if you could do it. Another team that would also be really good for him, I would also say, is someone like the Chiefs. I would hate to see him go there. But you know what I mean? A team that's just trying to improve and put somebody next to a star player already. 49ers would also be a good spot for him.
Mm-hmm.
But the 49ers can't pay anybody if they're going to pay Brock Purdy top 5 quarterback money, which they shouldn't do. That's me. You guys could also trade for Eric Stokes.
Will you
He's been
stop?
up and down.
I don't think we're going to trade anything with Green Bay. It's not going to happen.
Well, I'm saying that I think you guys should make one of those deals. I think that regardless of where we trade them, I think Jair Alexander and Kenny Clark should go. Get rid of their cap, free some money up, and draft or sign replacements. Because at the end of the day, they're not playing up to their cap. We already got rid of the other player that I wanted them to this year. I can't remember what his name is right now. Linebacker went to the Steelers for like a 7th round draft pick. We just offloaded his cap. That's the whole point of the trade. I can't remember what his name is right now. Because again, blank. Everybody blanks. And then probably T. Higgins would be the one person that I think the Packers could go and get. We're not going to go trade for Max Crosby. People are fucking stupid. I've seen so many people say we need to trade for Max Crosby. Green Bay's not going to give up 3 firsts. No way now. But getting T. Higgins for like a 2nd round draft pick, we would do that. But he might be a full unrestricted free agent, so.
Okay. Well, while we're talking about this, I did pull up how much cap space each of our teams would have. The Bucks are projected to have $11 million in cap space right now. The Packers, on the other hand, you guys got $51 million in cap space right now. If something comes up in free agency, if something comes up in free agency that the Packers would want, like, what do you guys need? Like,
wide receiver 1.
Then yeah, with Chris Godwin being available, you might want to get him. You guys got the money to do it.
Chris Godwin is not the wide receiver 1 that we need.
No, but he's the best one on the market.
T. Higgins. He's younger.
I'd also like to mention that the Texans only have $3 million in cap space somehow.
Because they traded and signed for Daniil Hunter, people like that. They're paying Laramie Tunsil. They're paying.
And also the Saints are $52 million over the cap.
Welcome to cap super hell. You've been upgraded.
All right. Well, we got to move on. That's enough about our teams. Let's talk about some other teams. It's time for the news. And for some reason, that doesn't get copyright struck, but the intro music does.
Because you suck.
Blow me. Well, we only got a few things to talk about. First things first, Mike McCarthy's contract was not renewed, and he is now going to be free to sign with any team he wants. Future Chicago Bear.
He's not going to get signed anywhere. If he's a Chicago Bear, I would jump for joy. So I'm going to take this in a different way because we already know we talked about most of the other firings because not. It's like one of the only things.
I'll say, but this is not really a firing. They just didn't re-sign him.
Yeah, they didn't re-sign him.
They did the same thing with Jason Garrett. They just let him go. Like they didn't pursue him.
So Damian Pierce was also fired. I think we talked about that last week. But after we had our podcast, they fired their GM too.
Right. I forgot about that. Like my question is, why did he just fire him in tandem? Why did he wait 2 days afterwards?
Because Tom Brady is now a major shareholder, and Tom Brady knows that the Raiders suck as an organization, and they convinced them to spend the money. Because the thing is the Raiders were also like the Cowboys, whereas they don't like to spend money on the sidelines. They already were
Well, I mean,
paying. The Raiders were already paying
the
for
last time they
three.
paid
They're
a the last
already
time they
paying the
paid
salaries of three other coaches.
the last time they paid
So
the last time they played paid a coach, it was John Gruden, and it ended in 2022 or
yeah, I
2021
think they're
rather.
still paying. I think they're still paying Gruden. Like,
Are they? I don't think
long
they're
story
playing
short,
Gruden though. It's been a lot. Like it was a.
they're paying a lot of people. I think it's the Raiders, but regardless, I don't think that without Tom Brady being there, I don't think that they would have fired Damian Pierce after 1 year. I think they would have just coasted the next year too, and
Like
they
wait
wouldn't have
for
fired
a better
their
candidate.
GM. But the thing is the reason why this year is there is a good candidate. It's the Lions offensive coordinator. He is like
I know
heavily coveted,
Ben
and so
Johnson is
they
the
think that the
like. Here's your head coaching candidates because Vrabel's off the board, and we'll get to that later. Off the bat, you got the coordinators for the Lions. You got Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson.
yeah,
You got Liam
and
Cohen from the Bucks, who is being talked about as being a potential hire for other head coaching vacancies, particularly in Dallas for whatever reason. I don't know why.
Packers offensive coordinator was interviewed by the Bears for the head coaching job, by the
Yeah,
way.
Deion Sanders was also reached out for by the Cowboys, or they
Oh
were
my
talking.
god.
We'll get to that in a little bit too. And as far as the other coaches are concerned, out of all the how many openings are there? Like Raiders, Raiders, Cowboys, Bears, Jets. Damn. I can only think of
Yeah,
four names, and there's
that's what I'm
more
saying.
openings than names.
The big thing that I'm trying to come to the conclusion here is that the Raiders are the best coaching opportunity. And I think it's because of Tom Brady a lot, because I don't think that the owner would have fired a GM in tandem simply to just do it, because the GM, I think, was he only there for 1 or 2 years, and he also like didn't have a bad draft. He drafted Brock Bowers. So it's like he had he didn't do all that bad. They fired him so that someone like Ben Johnson could choose the GM himself, right?
Yeah, but I don't think Ben Johnson wants to be in a place where he's basically going to be a puppet. Especially with
I
Jerry
don't
Jones
think that
being the
that's going to happen
GM.
anymore with Tom Brady.
But
With the Raiders,
if
I'm
the
saying.
if Ben Johnson goes to the Raiders, I think that's a match made in heaven.
I honestly think that it is, and I think that that's like they're pushing for it really hard. Um, and I think the last place people want to land is the Cowboys, because they're going to be used as human sock puppet. They just watched Mike McCarthy get fucking used and abused and then left. Um, but yeah, pretty much that's all I have to say about it is that at this point, with the Patriots off the board now, that the best place to land is the Raiders. It's the most coveted job, because you don't want to end up at the Bears or the Cowboys or the Jets.
Give me a second. Raiders, Bears, Cowboys, Jets.
Another thing I'd have the Packers do is make Robert Saleh the defensive coordinator, by the way.
I'm trying to think what other openings are there? Raiders, Bears, Cowboys, Jets. That can't be it.
The Colts are sticking with
Yeah, the coach is sticking with them. Okay, so there's 6 openings. Patriots have already been.
Saints. We
Yep.
forgot about the Saints.
Yeah, the Saints.
Jacksonville.
Saints
Dallas
and Jags.
Cowboys.
Okay. So Raiders, Bears,
Jacksonville's
Cowboys,
a mess.
Raiders, Bears, Cowboys, Jets, Saints, Jags. Here's the ranking of that. You got the Raiders, easy number 1. Number 2 would actually be the Jets, because you at least got a young defense you can keep building upon. And
I would probably say Jacksonville for me.
no, with
if it was me.
with Trent Baalke there, no. 3 would be the Bears, because at least then it's an incompetent organization, but you still got young players, including Caleb Williams and Roma Dunze, and a defense that has proven it can be good every other week. 4th on that, you would have the Cowboys, because it's a big market, albeit you got to deal with Jerry Jones.
No, I'd put so even if I'd say even if we went with your Raiders, then Jets, then Bears, it has to be Jacksonville next. Dallas Cowboys is bottom. Like, it's dead last on places that people want to go. Dead last. I guarantee you that coaches would rather have to deal with the Saints cap situation.
Well, I know
than
that's
the
the thing.
fucking
That's
Dallas
why
Cowboys ownership situation.
like the rankings is Raiders, Bears, Jets, Cowboys, Saints, and Jags. Jags, Trent Baalke's there. That's problem number 1. Number 2, they have nothing. Saints, they got the worst cap situation in the NFL with an aging roster that they still got to deal with. Cowboys, you got to deal with Mike McCarthy, but at least you got pieces there. Jets, you got a good defense, but you got to work on the offense. Bears, you got both. Raiders, it's going to be a clean slate that it's going to be sculpted to whatever coach's clay they want.
Well, what are you going to do with the Cowboys, though? Cowboys, they just paid their 2 best. Not even their 2 best. They just paid a average quarterback, top quarterback money, and then they just paid their wide receiver. So like half their fucking budget for the offense is gone already, and you don't. They were unable to sign anybody last year, or they just didn't, and just rolled back with it. They more than likely won't be able to afford Micah Parsons. So they will probably trade him away or sign him even though they can't afford him and sacrifice somewhere else on the roster. It's a fucking mess, dude. It's a fucking mess. And they've won one playoff game in the last, 5 years, even though that they've spent all this money and had so many wins. They've been like, I'd rather be Jacksonville, where you just never get to the playoffs. Like, because if I'm a coach and I get to Jacksonville and I get them to the playoffs, it would mean a lot more than the Dallas Cowboys. Because you're just fucked if you're at the Cowboys. Everyone that's gone there has done absolutely nothing with them. Jerry Jones has to die before they're going to be successful. I know I'm a little biased because I hate the Cowboys, but fuck, man.
No, you're not alone in that. Anyways, moving on. So, as we said before, the Patriots hired a head coach. Mike Vrabel has appeared back in the coaching scene after losing the power struggle in Tennessee. And with them firing their GM, they admit they went with the wrong side of it.
Yeah.
So, Mike Vrabel, he's not the best coach when it comes to offense, but he knows his defense relatively well. And that defense for the Patriots was among one of the worst.
His team fights for him, though.
I know.
He's a good players coach.
If you want an NFL team to be successful, 1, get a coach that the players like. The roster might be shit, but if the players want to play for him, that's already an upgrade.
And if you're the Lions, get a
just
coach
look at the Lions,
that your players would die for.
Just look at the Lions. Like, coming in, you wouldn't think that as a former tight end and a tight ends coach, you wouldn't think that God damn it, I forgot his name again. Dan Campbell.
All I got is
this is chronic. But you wouldn't expect Dan Campbell to know anything about coaching an offense or a defense because he just was a tight end coach. but holy shit, did it work out?
All I know is that Dan Campbell's a leader of men, and I would probably walk through gunfire for him rather than Joe Biden ordering me as his president.
Oh, fuck.
I would probably go if it was Dan Campbell telling me to do it. I would probably have a higher chance of doing it than I would if our federal government told me to.
But yeah, it's interesting. Again, you
As
start
a
with
Packers fan,
you start with a
saying that.
coach. You start with a coach that the players like. Speaking of which, Jerry Jones was talking to Deion Sanders about becoming the next head coach of the Cowboys.
Because Deion Sanders has been so successful as a head coach already.
I'll say, yeah, if he takes this job, there's going to be no transfer portal to dip into. It's just going to be free agency.
Just fucking grief, dude.
I still can't believe they went 4-8 their first year, and everybody was saying how Deion Sanders was the next best coach after going 4-8. Then they went 9-3, and they continued about it. Meanwhile, in that same season, Northwestern went 8-4, and nobody cared. And then the next year, they lose to BYU in the bowl game. Travis Hunter's named the Heisman by 100 some odd votes. If you talk, I said that ESPN and all of them have a bias toward Ohio State. They have a bias with Deion.
All right. Can I also say this? We haven't talked about a team trading for
Make it quick.
a coach.
Mm-hmm.
I think that the Steelers and the Bills should look at that option, especially if the Bills lose. If the Bills lose in this playoffs and don't make it to the Super Bowl, they should think about trading McDermott to somebody, because we know that McDermott's good. He's just not good at getting over the hump, right? If he can't prove that he can get over the hump, then ship him out somewhere. But Mike Tomlin is probably the most successful coach to be unsuccessful, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
He can build a roster. Someone like the Raiders should trade for him. Like, they should be willing to trade for him. The Steelers have already said, we're not interested in doing it. But if someone offered a first round draft pick, maybe it would soften the blow of finally moving on from Mike Tomlin. Because the Steelers will always be decent with Mike Tomlin, but they'll never be great. But yeah, that's pretty much it I have for
Yeah.
for hiring and firing.
Yeah, and I have nothing left to say, really. So, that is it for this episode. If you liked it, leave a like, click the like button down below. If you disliked it, hit that dislike button. I don't blame you if you do either. But more importantly, if you enjoyed this, subscribe. It really helps out the channel. Click the bell to get notifications when I upload. Next episode will be up on this channel next week, as for always. And we will see you guys next week for episode 24. Hopefully this slate of playoff games goes our way. We'll see you guys next week.
Peace.